Welcome everyone, welcome to another video. It's a bit of a different theme going on this week. We're actually at the other side of the country. This is like my temporary house that I stay at whilst I'm at work. Work over in Wales, so you'll probably know that, most of you. But I've been messaged by loads of people. I put a couple more pictures of me making some carbon fibre bits on my story on Instagram, and I've had like 4 or 5 people message me saying, you need to do a video on this. Every time I do some carbon stuff like this, people are always messaging saying you need to do a video. So I'm doing a video for you guys predominantly. I'm just going to go through what I'm making, and then I'll put up a few pictures in the screen because I'm not with the car, so you can't see exactly. But I'm basically making a bonnet scoop, reverse bonnet scoop. Currently, I'll put a picture up here. You can see the existing scoop that's on the bonnet. I've always liked the look of it. That's the only reason why it's still there. But it's actually messing with the aerodynamics of the car, because you've got air coming in through the front grills, through the radiators, and then it's got nowhere to go. So then it's in fact slowing down, which then creates high pressure, and the high pressure can't get out anywhere other than the 2 little grills at the side, which in turn is creating lift. So it's actually having an adverse effect to what I'm trying to do with the splitter and all the rest of the aero. So what we're going to do is, been meaning to do for ages, we're going to delete the scoop that sits at the top, and we're going to make it go underneath. So in fact, we're like turning the scoop upside down. So then the effect that's going to have is the airflow is going to be able to come in through the bonnet and exit. And the other byproduct that it'll have is it'll mean I won't need to use my electric heated windscreen, because it'll have nice hot air going over the windscreen area. So anyway, that's what we're doing. That's the picture of the old one. I'll put a couple of pictures up here now of when I made the template on the car, but all I've done is I've just got a piece of cardboard, and anyone can do this, piece of cardboard, and I've drawn around the bonnet scoop. I've took the bonnet scoop off the car, you can see up there, it's off the car now, and then you'll see me with this mould. I've just made this mould. These are the original bolt holes, we're not going to be using them, but then I've measured around an area that I was happy with. I think it's 50mm here, and then I've run this line parallel with the contour lines that got on the side of the bonnet, just before that would look best. It's all guesswork. And then all we've done is cut that little slit out, pushed it down, and then I've checked for clearance under the bonnet. So it's the boost pipe that comes through to the throttle body here, which will be the most common sort of setup on these Subarus with front mount intercoolers. I've given it a bit of clearance. I want it to be a nice opening, so I give it like 10mm or something. So then I've measured a couple of triangles, to cut for that area there, this area, just little triangles like that. Put them in, taped them in, and then I'm happy with that. So what I then did from there was you'll see in the next picture, I made an aluminium plug, basically a copy of this, but out of like aluminium alclad. It's like about 1mm thick, maybe 1.2mm, something like that. And that's what's here, but I'll show you this in a minute. The pictures are of it fitted to the car. And then, as per the last video, all I have got is a DC TIG welder, the new one, that Chinese raw one that I bought, and it just welds DC. So you can guess what my YouTube search was. Aluminium alloy welding with a DC TIG welder. Anyway, it's doable, you can do it. So there's loads of people like saying you've got to use helium gas, blah, blah, blah. I don't have any of that. So I just thought I'm just going to put it on pulse mode, and I'm just going to see if I can tack it. Anyway, it worked. It didn't look very good. It looked shit, but served the purpose for what I wanted it to, which was to hold the shape from that side of the country to bring it over to this side of the country, so that I could make a mould from it out of fiberglass and then lay it up in carbon. Because without going into it, I've got more time here in the day, to be able to do this sort of stuff, because I work nights. So anyway, we've got it here. It's not fallen to bits. We've reinforced all the back of it with I'll bring you in and show you, but we've reinforced all the back of it with just a hot glue gun. Do you know, just B&M Wilco, normal hot glue gun. Some of the low melt glue sticks, low temperature glue, just some glue sticks. And then I'll show you a couple of the other products that we've got and link it in the description. But yeah, let me show you and I'll go through this. You don't need to see me. So yeah, this is the back side of the mould, and this is the plug that I've made, the plug so to speak. The sheeting that I use around the side is polypropylene flooring sheet from Wix. It's like £3 or £4 for a massive big sheet of it. It doesn't stick to resin, and it's a cheap way. It's like fluted signboard, I think it's called, but it's a cheap way of doing it and accessible to everyone. You can just go onto Wix and get it. I'll put a link on the side of the screen so you can see it. And basically, what we're trying to achieve here is this is the aluminium mould that I made. So this is a copy of that piece of cardboard that I just showed you. And there's the atrocious tack welds, you know, that I was just saying with the little piece of triangle. So what we're going to do here is we want the final product to be mirror finish, you know, the same as this surface. So we need to make a male plug of that, or a female, if you want to look at it like that, which then we turn around and we'll lay up with carbon fibre and vacuum bag and infuse it. So we need like a border area because the mould needs to have somewhere for the vacuum bagging to stick to. So it needs to be larger than the actual part that we're making. So what I've done is hot glue gunned this flute board stuff, cut it to shape, hot glue gunned it all the way around the outside. I'm yet to finish. I'll show you when we're doing it. But and then also this recess area here, we've put the fluted signboard here because obviously we need it to be sealed. Yeah, if I didn't have that there, then all the resin would go underneath this leading edge and then you wouldn't be able to pull the mould out, if that makes sense. So yeah, fluted signboard all the way around the outside. This leading edge here was quite flimsy, you know, like wobbly. You could move it. So all I did there was I just had a piece of, you don't have to use this, just anything, a piece of wood will do or anything, but I just had a piece of polycarbonate spare, you know, just down the side of the cupboard, as you do. So all I've done is hot glue gunned it. Let me just zoom out. Yeah, hot glue gunned just all the way along the back side there. Let me turn it around. Yeah, so I'm just going to flip it round so you can see. And then what I've done is I've just gone over and reinforced all of I put this on just as a stand so it can stand upright whilst we're taking the mould. And then I've hot glue gunned all of these areas because obviously there's loads of gaps and stuff. So that's the back side done. Obviously these fluted signboards just hot glue gun in that sort of fashion, you know, to keep it all in place. Hot glue gunned all the seams. Normally I'd have some like high temperature tape. I'll put it in the screen. Do you know that you would tape these with, but I've left it at the other side of the country, so unlucky it's not got any. So the last bit I wanted to show you is, this is filleting wax, easy composites. I'll put the link up here. All you do here is you go around and I've filled all the edges. Do you know, just with your fingers go in, and then I've used like a wooden lollipop stick, you know, and scraped it, and then like, you know, like sort of scraped it in that sort of fashion, and then cleaned it, and yeah, this is what the stuff is anyway. It's like filleting wax, you can see. So now we're going to go all around. Are we? I can't do this, but we're going to go all the way around the edge like that, the same, and basically fill all that gap in all the way around the edge so it's nice and smooth. Then from there, we're going to wax it, release wax, 4 or 5 coats of that, and a maximum mould release. All around the surface the way you want it to release. You don't need to do it on this because this doesn't stick to the resin. And then on top of that, you don't have to do this, but I'm doing it on this one because I'm going to be painting this with clear lacquer afterwards. You just spray PVA release agent onto the surface. So then from there, I'll go through it as I'm doing it. From there, it's going to be the following process. So we've put PVA mould release on top of the wax, so it's got no chance of sticking. The fiberglass we're going to put on. Then we've got this stuff, which is polyester resin. This stuff stinks, so don't use this indoors. You can use the laminating, this EL2 stuff, but don't use the polyester resin. The epoxy resin you can use, but don't use polyester resin indoors. I have done it in here before, and it is foul. It's disgusting. But so what we're going to do is 2 seconds. Let me just grab a couple more products. I've got everything now. Right. First of all, tooling gel coat. So this is going to be, they're the molds for the doors there. Do you know that's the same thing as what we're doing here. So that's what it'll look like when it's come out. Tooling gel coat, 2 coats of this onto the mold on top of the PVA, and then it goes to like a sort of tack after about an hour-ish, I think, if I can remember. I've not done it for a while. So 2 coats of this on, and then whilst it's still tacky, I'll show you this as I'm doing it because I'm going to be doing it tomorrow. You'll see it in this video, obviously. Then we're going to put on a coat of the polyester laminating resin, and then this is glass fibre matting. So I've got 2 massive rolls. I've got too much of it, but it's basically, I think it's about 300 or 400 GSM, grams per square metre. We lay this on, not this stuff. We use like a thinner stuff, as it's called a coupling coat initially. So that goes on first. We let that go off a bit, and then we come and put the reinforcement layers on top of that, which will be thicker stuff than the coupling coat stuff. So I'll show you it, but this stuff, it fucking goes everywhere. It's horrible. So we'll leave that down here. But yeah, that will then, so that's just going on with this polyester resin. I'll put a link up here. This is from Easy Composites. That's where I get all my stuff from. The mega next day delivery, 9 times out of 10. Yeah, spot on. So that's mixed with, don't forget to buy your MEKP, this stuff, catalyst. It's only a real small amount so you put with it, but yeah, you read on the instructions. It's really easy. So that's to do the fiberglass mold, yeah. So then 24 hours later, we'll pop that out, bing, out of the mold. So then this one's finished with. So then we've got the same as these. These are the doors here. These are the rear doors. So you've got a mold of the of this. You've got a female mold of, I don't know if it's female or male. Female? No, that'd be the male plug. It'd be a female mold, even though it comes out, it looks like a male. But anyway, female mold of that. So then what we do is we'll check all that area for imperfections. Might have to polish a few areas and then compound polish it up so that it's perfect mirror finish. Then we'll apply, I've got another product, I didn't get that, 1 minute. This stuff, Easy Release Agent, and so we'll go over the surface with 4 or 5 coats of wax. After we've put, I tend to just put like a couple of layers of this on. You don't actually need to, you can just use this or this, but I've always found the wax works better than this personally. Might be my application or whatever, but I put a couple of coats of this on a fresh mold, because that's what this will be. Then 4 or 5 coats of the wax, just normal number 8 wax from Easy Composites, put it up there. Then what do? We'll lay, there's 2 ways you can do it. If you've got a vacuum pump, we can infuse it, so we can put the carbon fibre and reinforcement materials laid up dry. Then we can put a vacuum, all the bagging on, vacuum pump, and infuse it. See, I'll do that to show you doing that for one method, and then I'll show you another quicker method. And if you haven't got, all of the vacuum pump tooling and stuff, so you can do it. Well, there's more methods to do it, but anyway, we'll do a wet layup. Just paint in the this laminating resin, EL2. This is epoxy resin, so you can do this inside, it doesn't smell. So we'll paint this on just with a brush, and then we'll lay up the carbon fibre, this is what I'm going to be making out of. carbon fibre fabric. This is like 210, 2 by 2 twill. So it's like 2 by 2, the twill shape of it. So we've got that going down first into the mould, yeah. Then we've got something called lantasoric. This is 2mm lantasoric, and it's real easily and malleable, you know, it follows the shape. So follow that shape nicely of the contours and stuff. Got that going on. Then another layer of carbon, so it's like a sandwich, and it's solid as well. The rear doors and my canards and stuff are made out of it on the car. So, and this is the same principle as what I've made everything out of on the car, the doors, everything. So then we'll put, this is like a silk release film that goes on top of that release, you know, of the last layer of carbon. Then we've got, depending on whether you're doing infusion or if you're doing vacuum layup, the vacuum layup we've got like a thick woolly type fabric stuff. I ain't got any here, but that'll be like to absorb any overspill resin or anything. And then you've got this bagging, which is your release film bagging, and some gum tape, which is like a gummy tape sort of stuff, real sticky, to hold the bagging down. And then just vacuum, you know, vacuum pump, vacuum cleaner. If you're doing wet lay and then vacuuming it down, a vacuum cleaner, Henry Hoover, pulls about 20% vacuum, which is perfect for this. If you're doing infusion, you want full vacuum, so you need a pump, preferably. But the other thing I'll show you is some matting. As I said, I'll show you this as I'm doing it all, but there's some matting there that if you're doing infusion, you have to add them as well. I'll show you briefly, but I'll go into detail when I'm actually doing it. So there's two different types. I prefer, there's this one, I'll put the links up here. This is like infusion netting stuff, but I always find it a pain to get off. It's more malleable, it fits into the shapes of areas, contours and stuff better, but it's a nightmare to peel it off, I always find, you know, after when you're debagging. So I always use this one. This is like, I didn't actually realise I had loads of this in. I've got a box full of stuff like this up there, but this is like a netting, infusion netting, and it just helps the flow of the resin. It leaves like an air pocket for the flow of the resin, but yeah, they're them two. And then we've got all the other consumables, like it's like spiral for the resin fluid to go down and stuff. But I'll show you this when I'm doing the actual infusion. But initially we're going to do a wet layup, because that's what this EL2 is, wet layup. IN2 is infusion stuff. It's just thinner. This is quite thick. So yeah, I've rambled on enough. What I'll do is now I'll show you the application, you know, and actually making this mould. Yeah. So we've got all the wax filleting done around around all the edges, and we've applied four or five coats of I'll put the wax release release agent onto there. We've not done the PVA because it doesn't work well with the wax. I forgot at the time, but yeah. So now what we're going to do is put the first of the 2 layers of the tooling gel coat. So we'll go mix that now, and then literally just brushing it on. So this is just a bit better if it was on a stable surface, like, for fuck's sake. I'm going to go with 200 grams. So this is that MEKP hardener. It's from a different company. This is from Easy Moldcraft in Sheffield. But so is this, but it's the same principle, because we're going to do 2%. I'm going to do the maximum amount of catalyst, you know, so that it hardens the fastest. Right, mix that up, 5 minutes or so, and then we're going to paint it. I mean, you could brush this on real nice and evenly, or you could just fucking pour it in spray. I mean, I suppose it's going on there. I'll brush it over after. Right, so there's the first layer of tooling gel coat on, and actually all over my trousers as well. So we'll leave that for half an hour, 45 minutes, come back and see how it is, you know, in terms of tackiness. But it is already going off. I was having difficulty spreading it. So yeah, I mean that's exactly what I need. One day I might organise myself, but we've got this stuff, and this is called, has it got a label? No, this is called E-Glass. So I use this as a coupling coat. It's like the first coat that goes down on top of the gel coat, just because it's quite malleable and thin, you know, nice, forms into corners and stuff nice and easy. So I've just cut off enough, you know what I mean, right width and length. So now what we're going to do is, this has just got to the point where it's tacky, so it's nothing's coming off on my finger, but you can see it's just leaving like a nice fingerprint. So that's the right stage. I think it's called B stage of cure, whatever. We're going to put that on there now. I might have to do a bit of cutting and whatnot, but I ain't got two hands. I've got two hands. I mean, I haven't got four hands, so I'll come back when I've put that on, but you get the idea. Yep, there we have that stuck on in a fashion. Normally, I would put a layer of the polyester resin, and if some of the keen-eyed watchers have noticed, I've only put one coat of the tooling gel coat. It's purely time. Without going too far into it, I'm going to work in like 4 hours, and I want to get this done. So, yeah. Next up is polyester resin. So we're just going to mix up, I don't know, 100 ml or so of that, put it on and stipple it all in, so it's nicely in there. I've just mixed mix the resin up. I'm not going to pour it on this time. I'm just going to show you. Basically, we're just dabbing it, like stippling it sort of through, you know, so it soaks through the fiberglass. But yeah, I'm not going to bore you showing you this whole process. I'll come back when we've got it all complete. So that's the coupling coat on. Doesn't look spectacular, but it's all on there. So the final little bit is in these little corners here. Can you see? Just as a little additional reinforcement, I've got a little bit of resin left in the bottom of the pot. I've got this stuff which is 6mm chopped strand matting, fiberglass matting. So what it is it's just little pieces of fiberglass chopped into little 6mm things. So what I'm going to do is just literally, probably shouldn't do this on a coupling coat really, so to speak, but I just put it in there just as a bit of a reinforcement, and then bang some resin over it, and we're good to go. This has got to the B stage of cure now. Well, it's gone a little bit past that, I think. Probably a bit too much catalyst, but so now we're going to go with the next stage of reinforcement, which is the 300 GSM. I think it's 300 GSM. It might be 150. It's been a while since I last did all this, but I'll double check and then I'll put it in the screen, you know, what it is. But exactly the same principle again now, but instead of painting through the matting, what we're going to do is paint some resin on first and then put the matting on and then paint the resin over the top. So I've mixed up 150mm to start with. We'll see how we go. There we have it. We're all done. So in the end, that had one tooling coat, gel coat, quite thick coat. You've seen it go on. Then we had the E-Glass, which I can't remember what weight it is. It's quite lightweight. And then we've had one of the fiberglass coating as well, and then I've reinforced all of these areas with some of that chopped strand matting. Basically ran out of resin, as I've overlooked it, but ran out of resin, and so we've only got one coat, well, two technically. But I did do the front doors. It's a mess in here, but this is the front door mould, and I was rushing last year, and my friend did it actually, Danny, but this is only one layer thick. It's got no shoes or cobwebs, like it's got no other, it's just gel coat and then one very poorly, well, hats off to him. It was his first time at doing it, but it's all missing from the gel coat, so I'm quite I was quite pleased at the time that it had actually managed to work at all. But yeah, anyway, we're all done and we'll be able to demold this tomorrow now. So the next bit you'll see in the video is demolding. There we have it, demolded. It's come out really well. You would have just seen from that time lapse there, I've taken off all the borders and then actually popped the aluminium piece off. I've actually bust it, when I took it off, but we don't need it again. The mold's come out well. So what I've started doing is, as you can see, it's like a textured, not textured, but like a matte sort of effect. So you could leave it like that, but I'm going for, I want a gloss effect. When this carbon item comes out of the mold, it wants to be shiny, carbon. So what I'm doing is I've done it in this little area here, so you can see. Only in that literally that top corner. But I'm going over with 1200 grit, just in a bowl of just very liquid and water. 1200 grit, wet and dry. And I'm just polishing off over, mainly it was the areas where the wax had been. So if you can see where the wax has been here, as the thermal reaction goes on with the chemicals, with the actual gel coat and the fiberglass, you get heat, which then melts the wax, which then, distorts the shape of it a little bit. So mainly what I'm trying to get rid of, I'm trying to, sand all these areas flat. So I've had a little go at this edge here. Then after we've done the 1200 grit, I'll do this all over, apart from this piece, because this piece is going to be cut out of the actual carbon piece. But after we've done the 1200 grit, we're going to do some 2000 grit, just to make our polishing life a bit easier. So 2000 grit, you can get that from, I think this is from Halfords, this stuff. It's okay quality from Halfords. Then lastly, we will use some of this NW1, it's called. You can get this from Easy Composites. I'll put a picture of it in the screen. But it cuts really quick, so it polishes really, really fast. If you're using, you can use something like a normal compound, or this, I had some of this in the back of the cupboard, headlight polish. It's like a compound. This takes forever, because it's not as aggressive. But yeah, so that's what we're going to do now. I'll put a couple of pictures of it, in the end title, so to speak, in the end screen. But yeah, other than that, that's where I'm going to leave this video. So this is part 1. This is making the mould, and come back for part 2, which will be laying up the carbon in the 2 methods. So one in infusion and one with vacuum, wet layup first. So yeah, I'll see you in part 2.